All right, so let's talk about Module 5. Module 5 is the phosphorus and the hydrologic cycle, or hydrologic, just a less fancy term, is water. So phosphorus is another limiting nutrient that's added to, it's actually so limiting that we add it to fertilizer when we make fertilizer for plants, crops, yards, anything that we make fertilizer with. If you look at the bag, it's going to have, at the back of the bag, when it says what is in this fertilizer, it's going to definitely have nitrogen, and it's definitely going to have phosphorus. Phosphorus is another severely limiting agent. Probably it's even more limiting in a way in terms that phosphorus does not have a gas phase. So plants can't just readily pull, or not plants, I'm sorry, plants don't do that, it's actually bacteria. Bacteria cannot just pull phosphorus out of the atmosphere like they can with nitrogen. Phosphorus is only found in rocks, and then some leaches into the water, some leaches into the air, but as particles, not as gas. So it's extremely limited in terrestrial and freshwater ecosystems for that reason. Okay, so again, I've said this with every biogeochemical cycle, you need to know this diagram. Cover up the words, be able to explain this to somebody. But applying fertilizers can allow one issue. This is an environmental situation involving the phosphorus and really technically the nitrogen cycle. When we apply fertilizers that have nitrogen and phosphorus in them, this allows for runoff to happen. So farmer spreads this, or I spread this on my lawn, and then it rains, and then some of that fertilizer gets washed away and goes into our wetlands, and then eventually into waterways, where it can lead to something called an algal bloom. We will talk about algal blooms again. Actually, for this semester, we'll talk about them again, and next semester as well. And this creates what we call a hypoxic environment. Hypoxic means low oxygen environment. A low oxygen environment means that organisms cannot live there. And so what happens is this ends up leading to a dead zone. And that's really important that you know that. Make sure that you understand the description over here on page 61 of what an algal bloom is. It's going to go into more details. So make sure that you understand that. Just don't breeze through it, because it is a little more technical and you do need to understand that. You also need to know, when we get into the hydrologic cycle, you need to understand this diagram as well. So make sure that you know that. And then we'll see here we've come to the end of Module 5. So I will see you next time with Module 6, and we'll be talking about primary productivity.